All right, everyone. Hello, I believe you guys can hear me. All right, so I want to say good evening to everyone and thank you for joining us in today's session. Please, if you can hear me, you can hit a hi on the comment section and say yes, I can hear you. All right, so thank you so much, and you are very welcome to today's session. Please, kindly send the link of this session to your friends and to everyone. Inform them that we're live and they can join class right away. Okay. Yeah, so thank you so much. Today we'll be looking at JavaScript operators and conditions. In our last class, we looked at introduction to JavaScript, JavaScript variables, and data types. So we did some very interesting and some practical um, with JavaScript. We looked at some very common data types like strings. We looked at boolean. We looked at integers, that's numbers, and we also looked at assigning variables a name and a value. Okay, we declare variables with const, with let, and with var. And we also looked at the difference between let, var, and const. So please, if you've not gone through the video for the last class, you can just look at it. It's on this channel, JavaScript introduction, variables, and data types. Okay, so today we'll be going into another aspect of JavaScript and we'll be looking at operators and conditions. Okay, so they're very, very simple, very, very interesting topic to look at. And I would want you to just sit tight and look at what we have for today. So, what is an operator? Let's go straight to the point. What is an operator in JavaScript? So, an operator is a symbol, or you can call it a word, JavaScript uses to perform an action on values, and these values are called operands. Okay, so just let's give a real life example. If numbers are ingredients, the ingredients you use for your food, operators are like the actions you perform on those ingredients. Actions like mixing, add, divide, remove. These are operators in JavaScript. Okay. So there are different kinds of operators in JavaScript, and we'll be looking at them one after the other. So let me share my screen as we go into practicing what these operators are. So hello, I believe you guys can hear me. Okay. So if you can hear me, say hi on the comment section. All right. So let me share my screen. So let me know if you can see my screen. So if you can see my screen, say yeah, I can see your screen on the comment section. So we'll be using this live editor, online editor. I shared the link in the last class, and let me also drop the link here if you want to practice. But I will advise you just observe. I will advise you just look at what I'm doing, and you can practice on your own later on. This is the link. Okay. Yeah. Hi. Okay. Thank you. You're welcome. Mm, I believe you guys can see my screen. Let me make it a bit bigger. Yeah. I believe this is better. Oh, sorry. I think I made a mistake. Okay, so let me know if you can see my screen. If you can see my screen, can you say yeah? Okay, thank you guys. Let's go straight to the point. Um, Last week we were able to look at some operators. We looked at how to declare variable. So let me declare variable. Let's say variable number, call it number one. Okay, so let's say number one is one, and then let's have another variable number two. Sorry, there's no space. We're making a variable number two. So let's say we have variable total. So how do we give the total of this? Simple mathematics, we just say 1 plus 2. That's how we give it. But we don't want to make a direct computation with the values. We want to make a computation with the numbers. Okay, so remember what we discussed while we were creating variables in JavaScript. We discussed that these variables are containers. And whenever you make a reference to these variables, the value on the container would be pulled. Okay, so this value can change. So we don't want to make, let's say if we do 1 plus 1, we'll have total to be 3. But if we do number 1 plus number 2, all we'll have is the content of number 1 and the content of number 2. So even if we change the content of number 1, the values will change. I seen it. So we want to make sure that what we are adding to this total is the content of number 1 and the content of number 2. So here I will introduce an operator called the um, addition operator. Okay, so this is the operator for adding two values. Is the add or plus operator, anyone you want to call it. Okay, so we use them to add two or more values and get their summation. So it can have 10 values, 20 values, as much as we want to have, right? As much as you have to have. So we have number one. So the sign is just a plus sign. Number two, it has total. So we can do console. Let's log our total. Console or log total. So we run it, we get 3. If we change the value here to 10, we run it, we get 12. We change the value here to 20, we run it, we get 30. We can have more numbers and have var number 3 is equal to 30. And we can also add plus number 3. So you can add as many numbers as you want, right? And if we run it, we have 60. That's 10 plus 20 plus 30. All right, so this is the add operator or the plus operator or whatsoever you want to call it, but basically for addition. Okay, we have the subtract operator. Same way, we can have difference is equal to, let's say, number 3 minus number 1. So we can say console log console.log diff. So to log it on the second line, you can see it. So number 3 is 30 minus number 10. Number 1, that's 10. So we get 20. You can also add an extra and say another minus. This is a minus sign. So just use the minus sign on your keyboard. So you say number 2. And we'll run it. You have a 0. meaning number 3 is 30, number 1 is 10, number 2 is 20. Let's say we have a 300 here. If we run this, you can see 270. I believe you can follow in, guys. I believe you guys are following the class. Please, if you're following, do say, yeah, I'm following. Say, hi, I'm following. Right? Okay, so let's proceed. So we have another operator, another arithmetic operator. Okay, and the name of this operator is the multiply. We have multiply operator. So the sign for multiplication or multiply operator is asterisk. So use asterisk key of your laptop. Let's see. Var again is used to get the product. Product. Say equal to number 1 asterisk this way. Number 2. So if you do console.log product, we'll have this product in number 3. So you can have 200, meaning 10 times 20. You can have it as much as you want. You can also do asterisk as multiply by number 3. Okay, so running. You get this. You get this number 3. You can see. So you can see here the total is 6,000, and that's number 1 multiplied by number 2 multiplied by number 3. So the multiplication sign is asterisk. Okay, so we have another one, the divide operator. This is how the divide operator works. Var divide is just because a number 3 slash this way number 1. That's divide. Okay, so go to the 4th line. So console.log divide. Right, so you can see it 30 hours 300 number 3 and then divide by 10. Please pay attention that these operators can be used on different data types, but some are specifically used on specific data types. For instance, the subtract here is for integers, the asterisk here the same for integers, divide here is also for integers, right? But the plus sign here can be used for integers and for strings. Remember, we defined strings in our last class as alphabetical characters, right? So let's say name equal to, I don't know what name to use, say Prince, and then let's say first name Prince, and then var second name is Somaga. That's my second name. So one thing, we can use plus the add operator on strings as well. Okay, so we can say var full name is equal to first name plus second name, and then here we can say console log full name. So the value in full name will now be the summation of these two values. It's called concatenation, right? So in strings, this operator does the work of concatenation. So it joins two strings together. Okay, so if we run this, you see Prince and Chisomaga joined together, right? So you can join as many strings as you want. So let's say I need a white space in between the two. I can just say plus, I put a double quote, and then put space, and then put another plus. So it's very simple. So it means this one, right? And then plus this one. This one is another value of its own, but it's just an empty space. You can put anything in between if you want. Anything you put in between appears, then plus this one. So when we run it, you can see there appears a white space in between. Okay, so this is how you can add more stuffs, right? So you can also concatenate numbers and strings. But when you concatenate numbers and strings, JavaScript automatically converts everything to string. Let's say, for instance, we can say something like, um, let's say we have a label. Let's label. You can give, okay. Let's say here in this console.log, let's log out. You just logged out a number. This number, looking at it this way, you don't even know what these numbers represent. Okay, so let's say in console.log, let's put a double quote here for a string. So let's write a string total. Put this inside a string and white space. So this is a string, right? And this is a number. So we want to join the two of them together and log them out to put a plus sign. So when we run this, you can see we have total. This is the entire string here, and then we have total and the value. So total is 300. We can do the same thing here. You can say difference and this. If you do it this way, to throw an error, because look at it. If I do it this way, to throw an error, there's an error. Okay, you just wrote a string and then just wrote this. So you didn't give any instruction to JavaScript. So you need to put an operator here. Say add the two of them together and they should become one. So now when you add something together, they become one. So these two will now become one because of this operator. When you run it, you see difference and you have it. Remember, white space is a character in JavaScript, white space. So the same way you have A, B, C, D, white space is a character. So this white space I gave is treated as a character and was printed out. That's why we have a space in between this colon and thread. So if you remove it and then you run it, that space will be eliminated. Sorry, in this place. You remove it and run it, that white space will be eliminated. But if you put a white space here, white space here, it's fine. So the white space you have in between the double quote is what counts. Any white space outside the double quote does not count, right? So it's not doesn't count. JavaScript only recognizes the white space that is in the quote here because that is the one it treats as a string and it prints it out. So if you like, it's if you remove the white space, no matter how long the white space out of this space here is not recognized as a character. Only the space inside the double quote is recognized as a character. All right. So I believe you guys can hear me and you're following. So this is how it works. This is how string concatenation works. Okay. So let's look at other operators in JavaScript. We have a whole lot of them. So we have the modulo operator, or they call the remainder operator. Let me show you how it works. If you have done modulus in JavaScript or in mathematics, you'll understand what the modulus operator does. Okay, so this is how it works. So let's say we have var number 3 mod is percentage sign, mod number 2. Okay, so let's say var mod is equal to this. So let's say console.log. Let's say console.log. Let's say string mod, and then plus on the log out this mod here, mod. So let's run it. So you can say mod is 0. If we say 301, we run it, mod is now 1. So why is mod 1? So what mod does is that it returns the remainder after a division operation. So it brings the number. What's the value number 3? Say 300. In the first place, it was 300 before we changed to 301 on this, and it does an operation divided by the one in number 2 is 20. So when we do 300 divided by 20, you should get it. I think it should be 15 remainder 0. It should be 15 remainder 0. Okay. But right now it's 301. If you do 301 over 20, it will be 15 remainder 1. So it returns the remainder instead of the result of the division. So that's how mod works. So if you are doing an operation, let's say you are building a fintech application and you want to get the non-decimal part of a, a number, you can do it this way, right? So mod tries to retrieve the value that leads to having a remainder in a division. So that's what mod does. I believe you guys are following me. You can just hit yeah on the comment section if you are following. And let's move to the next operator. We have the power operator, right? We have the power operator. So let's do this. The power operator is represented by double asterisk, just double asterisk. So let's do this way. Let's say var power 2, this is it, asterisk 3. So what this represents is 2 multiply itself into 3 times 2 times 2 times 2. That's what it represents. So if you want to do anything power operator, you pick the number, the first number, and then how many times you want it to be multiplied to multiply itself. So if we do power here, say console log power, and then we have this power, and we run it, you get 8. 2 by 2 is 4. 4 by 2 is 8. That's the same thing. So even if you say 10 power 5, that's 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10, 10 into 5 places. Run it, have it. So this means, so there's what we call comments in JavaScript. Comments are lines of code that you don't want to be interpreted. So they don't do anything, they just give you a label, or they just give information. You use them to write notes or information in your code. So at this point, I want to just say that this represents 10 by 10 by 10 by 10 by 10. So this is a comment. It doesn't do anything. When you run it, it doesn't do anything. So any line of code that you don't want be to be interpreted or to be passed or to be executed, you just comment that line out. Like this line, if I do a comment with double, this is a single line comment with this slash sign, double slash sign. If I run this, you notice that this first line no longer executes. Okay, so we also have single line comment and double line comment. So single line comment is what we are doing here. Double line comment is done this way. This asterisk, this. So anything in between these first signs and the second last one would not be interpreted. So if you take all these here and put them here or run the code, they will not be interpreted. The only thing that gets passed is this one. All right, so that's how comments work in JavaScript. All right, so let's move to the next operator. There are many other operators that we'll be looking at. Just believe we have more time to look at them. Okay, so let's move directly to assignment operators. There are assignment operators in JavaScript. For instance, we'll declare variables. Whenever we're declaring a variable, we use an assignment operator for that action. If you look at this place, we'll have var first name equal. So equal sign here is an assignment operator. So what it does is that it takes any value and puts it in the variable, usually used in the context of declaring variables. Okay, so it takes a value, be it a number, a boolean, an object, an array, a function, or anything, takes it and puts it right inside a variable. Okay, so it assigns a value to a variable slot. Okay, so we have different forms of assignment operators. So let's touch them. We have this assignment operator. We have the add then assign. We have add then assign. Let's take for instance that we want to create a number here. Let's say number 5. Let's say var number 5. So we want this number 5 to be uh 20 extra to number 1. So whatever the value of number 1 is, we want to add 20 to that value and make it number 5. Right? So what we'll do is that we'll now say number 1, number 5, plus okay, is equal to number this should be wrong. Equal to plus equal to 20. I think I'm making a mistake. Yeah. So what happens here is this is number 1. Okay, let me do it this way to make it easier for you guys. Let me do it this way. We already know number 1 here. Number 1 is 10. Okay, so if we want to increment number 1 by 20, we can say number 1 equal to number 1 plus 20. This is one way to increment number 1 by 20. Okay, so we say that we call the value of that number 1, which is value of the variable, and then we call it again. We will call it here. It means that we're trying to put the current value here, and then we'll add 20 to the current value and save it back to number 1. Remember what we discussed about variables? I told you guys that variables are slots, are spaces like boxes in the memory. Okay, and you can put things there and change what you put there as well. So whenever we call the variable name and we say equal, this operator knows that at this point we are trying to put something inside this variable. Okay, and the whatever we have here is the value we put inside the variable. Okay, so at this point we have number 1, and number 1 here represents the content of the number 1 variable plus 20. This is one way to increment it. Okay, so we can say number 1, let's say the current number 1, let's see here, number 1. So you can say number 1 is now 30. What happened is that it put the current value, which is 10, and then it added 20 to it. Added 20 to it. So there's another way to do it. That's what I wanted to do here. You can say number 1 plus equal 20. So at this point, you don't need to call number 1 again. You just say plus equal 20. This does the same work. So number 1 is 30. So this plus equal 20 here means this is the variable we want to assign the value to. The same variable, we want you to put the current value and add this 20 to it. So you can do 100, 200, you can add any value you want. Okay, and then it works, right? So we can also do it this way. We have add, this starts what we call add, then assign. We also have subtract, then assign. Just do negative sign here. It will subtract 2 from the current value of number 1. So the current value of number 1 is 10 from this top. So minus 2 and all that. The same way we have add, subtract, then assign. We also have divide, then assign. This is divide, then assign. We also have multiply, then assign, and all those stuff. Okay, so that's how it works. Right. So let's move to the next operator. We also have reminder, then assign. That's the mod, then assign. So let's look at comparison operators. What are comparison operators? So comparison operators compare two values and return either true or false. Okay, so let's look at it now. Let me show you. So let's say we have a value. Now we already have number 1 and number 2. So let's say we want to check if, let's say console.log, oh wait, let's say we have a variable var compare, and want to compare. We say number 1. We have different kinds of comparison operators. We have greater than, we have less than, and greater than or equal to, and the rest. So let's take it one after the other. This is less than sign. You say is number 1 less than number 2? Let's log out the compare, the value of compare. Let's log it out. Let's put value here. Running says true. It returns either true or false. Remember the last time I told you that we have a type of data type in JavaScript known as the Boolean data type, and Boolean actually evaluates to either true or false. Okay, so it returns either true or false. So let's look at what we're doing. So let me copy this line so we can have multiple of these. Let me comment this one out. This is no longer working. So you can say is number one greater. Let's do greater than number two. Let's run it. It says false. So this is greater than sign. This is less than sign. Okay. So let's do another one. So we can also do equal. Equal. There's equal operator. So equal operator is not, this equal operator is a equality operator, not the equal operator of comparison. So this is the equality operator. It compares if two things are equal, right? And we write it as double equal sign. So when we do double equal sign, we'll now look at if two things are equal. And so is number one equal to number two. We'll run it. It says false. If you remove this, it says is number one equal to 10. So this is not assignment. This is now equality. It checks, it says false. So what is number one currently? I think number one is 8. So is number one equal to 8? False. What is number one currently? Number one should be, well, let me log it up. What was the value of number one? It's 8. Okay. Then it should give me true. It's number one equal to 8. It says true. Okay, I'm sorry. It says true. So that's how it works. So we also have greater than or equal to. So we can say is number one greater than or equal to 8. So if we look at it, if we run it, we'll know that it's equal to 8, right? But if we do 9, we'll run it. So it's neither greater than 9. Number one is 8, which is neither greater than 9 nor equal to 9. So if you look at, if you can turn it, you can also turn it to less than sign. You can say it's number one less than, sorry, is number one less than or equal to 9. Let's see what happens. Less than or equal to 9. Say true, because number one is 8 and 8 is less than 9. So either ways, if it's either less or it's greater, whichever one. So we also have the strict equality sign. So if you want to check for strict equality sign. So let's take, for instance, we have A is equal to 10, var B is also equal to 10, right? So if we have this, and then we try to compare them, we say var A compare A equal B. You can guess the answer. Are they the same? Let's try to run it. Sorry, should have put an equal sign here. So it's saying true, right? Yeah, it's saying true. But if we do strict equality, run it, strict equality is saying false. So strict equality compares not just the value but also the data type. Number one, if you look at A here, A is 10 but is of data type number. But B is also 10 but is of data type string. So the normal equality, which is double equality, only compares their values. If it's 10, 10, then it's okay. But in strict equality, we also want to check their values and their data types, right? So that's how it works. So we also have not equal sign, not equal sign. So let's say we have var, let's say compare, let's compare is number one. When we say not equal, we use this symbol here and equality. So is number one not equal to 2? Let's run it. It says true. Yes, number one is not equal to 2. But is number one not equal to 8? Run it. It says false. Number one already is 8. So this checks and returns to true only if the two operands are not equal. Okay. So generally in JavaScript or in programming, this sign here represents, it's a negation sign. It represents no. It's just a negation sign. Then we can also have not strictly equal. Not strictly equal. So let's say we already have A and B. Let's say var compare is equal to A not equal strictly equal. So not strictly equal is not equal sign, negation sign, and double equality equal sign. But in the aspect of not equal, we use just one negation sign and one equality equal sign. But the difference is that this compares data types as well. So if we do this, so you can say true because B and A are not strictly equal. They can only be strictly equal if this B is just an integer. But since they are not strictly equal, this guy will return true. So because this guy checks if they are not strictly equal. So I believe you guys are flowing. So we're looking at more operators. So we have different other kinds of operators. We have the logical operators. I'm going to teach you just um, three logical operators. And I will show you what they mean. So now we have the AND logical operator, the OR logical operator, and the NOT logical operator. So let's do that. Let's check them out. So logical operators are basically checking logics. So if, for instance, we want to compare two conditions or three conditions, and we want them to return to true if the two are both correct. So let's say that we say the first condition we have is, let's do this. Let's say var condition 1. Condition 1 is we want to check is number 1 greater than number 2. Then var condition 2 is I want to check is var number 3 less than var number 1. Okay, so let's declare our compare. Let's say var compare is equal to condition condition 1, this is the AND operator, and condition 2. So what this will do is that it will check what is the value of condition 1 and what is the value of condition 2. Right? Condition 1 and condition 2. So let's look at the value of condition 1. Condition 1, let's say condition 1 plus, this is condition 1, this is condition 2. Condition 2, and this is the value of compare. This is the value of compare right now. Okay, so let's run it. Oh, sorry. So one of the things that you need to understand while writing codes is the ability to debug. So most times when errors are thrown, you need to read the error message and discover where the error is coming from. So look at this error here. It says unexpected identifier number 3. So it pointed at this line of code. So when you come to this place, you notice that something is missing, and that is equality. The equal operator is missing. So the expect that should be an equal operator because I'm defining a variable. So now condition 1 and is false. Condition 2 is false. So what happens is that condition 1 and condition 2, these two can only become true if condition 1 is true, if the both of them are true. If either of them or any of them is false, the whole condition will become false. That's how it works. Right? So if, for instance, we change this one and we run, condition 1 has become true, but condition 2 is false. Hence, the whole stuff will be false. But if we make both of them true and run it, you can see true, true, true. Okay. So let's look at another operator, the OR operator. So this is how OR operator works. You need to look for this key in your keyboard. I don't know what to call it, but look for this key is the OR operator. The two of them is just two. So what OR does is that OR checks if any of these is true. Once any of them becomes true, the whole statement will become true. So when we run this, I say that both of them are true, so it's true, works. But if at any point any one becomes false, just one becomes false, then it's still true because he was able to find out that we still have one true. So if either of them is true, then it returns or will return true. Right? So but and requires that the two of them should become true. The next one is a not operator. So something is not means it's an inverse of something. It's an inverse of something. So for instance, You have already seen that. Sorry, let's declare var compare is equal to, sorry, the not operator is this. That's the negation operator I just talked about before. So let's say we do compare not condition one. So what this will do is that whatsoever is the value of condition one, it will turn it upside down. It will turn it the other way around. So this is condition one is false here. So compare is equal to not negation or inverse of is inverse of condition one, which is true. So if condition one becomes true, the inverse of condition one, which is this, will now become false. So that's how it runs. I think we've spent a lot of time in this class, and we may have to, let me just treat the remaining major operators, and then we'll call it a day. So we have another kind of operator called a plus plus or minus minus. So how this is how they work. Let me show you. So let's say we have a number here. Say number, sorry, var number 4. You just want number 4 to be one extra to number 2, to number 3. So we just say number 3 plus plus. Or we can say var number 6, and one number 6 to be number 3 minus 1, or number 3 minus minus. Means whatsoever is in number 3, add 1 to it, it will become number 4. Whatsoever is in number 3, add 1 to it, it will become number 6. Let's log it out. Let's say console.log number 4 console.log number 6 number 6. So let's run it, see it. So you can see number 4 is, remember number 4 is number 3 plus plus. Yeah. Coming. Number 3 plus plus, and number number 6 is number 3 minus minus. Okay, so I'll show you different things. So let's say we have var number 7. You can see number 7 is equal to plus plus number 3. Then var number 8 is equal to minus minus number 3. So let's check all these out and then call it a day. So this is number 7, number 8, number 8. Let's run it. Now, initially number 3 There's number three is 301. It's 301. So what happens here is that, okay, in this place we have two actions. Number three plus plus means whatsoever is in number three, return it and save it in number four. Then add one to number three. So after this line, number three becomes 302. Hmm? Then when we come to number six, you say whatsoever is currently in number three, put it here in this variable. That's 302. And then minus one from number three. So after this line, number three becomes 301 again. But in this area here, it would say plus plus first, means whatsoever is in number three, add one to it and return it to this number seven. So number three was already 301. So in this point now, it will return the plus plus, meaning after the addition, it will return it first before going to the next line. So here it will be 301 plus 1, which is 302. Then at this point, it will subtract 1 from it and make it 301 again. That's how it works. Don't worry, I'm going to do more detailed work on this. Okay, so we have other kinds of operators, and I don't think you've been needed at this stage, but let me just say it. We have an operator called type of, and we have another operator called instance of, right? So these are called type operators. Um, we'll not look at them right now, but if you want to research, you can just research them and have the knowledge for yourself. That kind of operator, type of, instance of. So that's how you know them. You can check out what they do, right? So if you have any question, please, I'll be dropping this right now on the description of this video. I'll drop the code in the description of this video. You can look at it and practice at your end. I'll also drop the link to the online editor. If you want to do that, you can use online editor to do it. All right. So please, thank you so much for today. Next class, I want to continue from where we stopped to be treating conditions. I don't want to keep this class so long. So between conditions by our next class. Do well to visit the previous class on JavaScript. You're just starting on JavaScript. But if you are not, maybe you're just starting up from the beginning. We have done HTML and CSS in the previous classes. So you start from the videos on HTML and CSS. And if you're not in our community, there's a link on the description of this video to join our WhatsApp community where you can ask questions directly to the instructors, and they would actually attend to your questions. Okay. So thank you so much. Have a nice day. God bless you.